It's been wrong in the past, even at those levels, but I do think it's a sure thing this time.
And I finally had a sure thing.
The stock market was a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing.
Sure thing.
It wasn't a sure thing.
It's a sure thing.
Amen.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
I don't think it's a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing. Sure thing.
Must be a sure thing, but I don't think it's a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Nature, everybody wants to rule the...
We'll almost certainly be fucked.
Can you just make sure that everything records all right, please?
Well, mate, we can't because I'm not smart enough. So we just have to accept that we lose every third recording.
No,
That's
I
the
just want you to
nature
make sure that
of the Sure Thing podcast.
Can you just...
Welcome back. Happy New Year. Ding, 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 ding. Dude, I went on a pod and they're doing it like American radio. You're in there. What's up, player? What's pimp? Welcome to the show. What's been happening? I'm like, nothing. We live in the Matrix. We're slaves. What have you been up to? Contemplating suicide. My mum chased me out of the house. Never come back. That's how I left today.
Today?
Don't you ever come back here? And I'm like, I wonder if I can go back and get my stuff. We're at that point. Dude, we have not done a pod for so long.
Yeah.
And the main problem is that I just think we've got to just do them weekly, even if they're shitter. Lower the quantity, increase the volumes. People buy bread every day. We're trying to like sculpt shit. And I'm like, they don't want it. They just want bread. Dude, you go in, like you get the artisan bread and you will, but realistically, Tip Top dominates the market. I'm like, we've had the wrong strategy. We've got to get guests on. We've got to leverage with guests and say, why won't you promote it? And I'm like, well, you slagged off my entire book. And I'm like, yeah, of course we did. Everyone is. We're playing to the market. Not your friends. We're trying to get rich here. Do you know what that's the hardest part, I reckon, if you're a friend? Lying. Like it happens in stand-up, it happens in everything. Where you go, the book's good. I'm like, they can go on Reddit. The book's atrocious. I just bought a gift. I was for a wedding, man.
Yeah.
And I was going to get Ando's The Happiest Refugee because he's Asian and a wok. And I thought, I've got to grow. I've got to be better than
Wait. The person getting married is Asian, and you were like, this will be
well, he's not Vietnamese, but I mean, it's close enough.
One of them.
And I thought I'll throw in a wok.
He's railroad. He's making some railroad.
But then I found a better thing. I thought Big Dub sold dream boards for happiness and contentment. And I got Will Anderson's book and a set of sheets. And I'm like, that is actually funnier than Ando's. Anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't seem better and like it still seems mocking in the same way.
Oh man, I was going to send it to Will and I thought he'll definitely know I'm mocking. Or I'll send a photo
Why
of a
would you
vision
send
board.
it to Will? Like, hey man, just bought your book as a joke for someone.
Hey dude, I bought your book with a vision board to send it to someone and go like, maybe you can manifest this. Dude, I am in big trouble.
Why?
Because we haven't recorded for so long, we've forgotten what's happened. I've changed.
Well, I was going to start with how was LA? Because
dude, we're going all the way back there. And the main thing is, I went on the mug off recently and the mania was intense. I just talked over everyone. I actually heard Mark Maron do an interview with Courtney Love.
Yeah.
And he goes, anyway, come and here's me listening to Courtney. And then he put it on and it's just her on a mania, just ranting around. I was like, this is deplorable. And then I listen to Mugoff, I hear like Yaz, he's saying some funny things. And I keep interrupting him going, I've got funnier things, boy. I didn't have anything. It was like someone, filler. You know, on a first date when you just filler? So what's been happening? Interesting, hey? Farmers. The farmers had a rough ride and then you go like, oh, they fucking suck. Fuck farmers. And then they haven't said anything yet. And she goes, my dad's a farmer. And go, I actually love farmers. I went to a zoo as a kid. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I went to a zoo. Isn't that a farm? And then she's like, you're scaring me. And you're like, scaring you. Speaking of scaring movies, have you seen Halloween 2? Have you seen Saw 5? She's like, you are a mental. And we're like, mental, bental. Lentil. Lentils are good. And we go, anyway, so you're going to suck my dick or not? Dude, We haven't done the LA update.
Well, so when you were in LA, I was desperately trying to get you to record with me, and you seemed to be in
I
some
couldn't
kind
do
of
it, dude.
like real deep depressive funk.
I ran out of money, man.
What? So okay, what happened? You were there for what? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I was getting these old blues. I don't know what they're called. They're like the equivalent to a long neck beer. The long one. Cans. The long cans.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to keep getting up. I forget what they're called. I called them old blues.
Like a
But
tall
people seem to understand, but they're
Like
the
a tall
long
neck.
cans. Tall neck, yeah, but the cans like
cans,
double,
right.
double cans.
Yeah.
Double cans. People would know from the US, but unfortunately I don't really immerse in branding. So whatever that blue can is. Sorry I didn't learn their stupid little marketed name. I don't care. But, dude, so I ran out of money quickly because I was getting blackout drunk most nights.
Okay.
And the bills were huge. I'm shouting. I thought I was networking. I'm actually shouting shots for the doorman. I thought you were on fucking Saturday Night Live. Now I'm the doorman here. I'm like, fucking hell. Well, you owe me 30 tequila shots, dude. I was trying to weasel onto your next movie. Oh, dude, it was crazy though, man. So speaking of, I ran out of money. It was so expensive there because I got my flights covered, but I hadn't factored in drinking. And by the end, the only way I could live was on. You understand why people live badly when they're poor. All I could live on was Ruffles chips and cans of Cokes from the 7-Eleven. I was in there and homeless people were saying, hey, let me shout you a Slurpee. You're living bad. I'm waiting at the front, dude. And it was so funny realizing how close open mic is to homeless. Because we're both out the front of the supermarket waiting to get food at 6 a.m. And I'm like, there's a lady sitting in a trolley and I'm standing there in my Hawaiian comedy shirt. I'm like, how are we different? How are we fucking different? And you know what the worst is? The hostels there, unbelievable. So bad.
Yeah.
Because you arrived and you knew where I was staying, like with the tent city where it spilled into a house.
Yeah. You said it was very bad.
So you'd feel unsafe and you go, oh, dude, that guy looks unsavory with the yellow teeth that have been sharpened on a rock. And I'm like, anyway, I'll retreat into my oasis. And you do your key card and you look back almost like sucker, you're locked out. And then he has the same key card and comes in. He's in the fucking, it's so cheap. He's staying there. He panhandles to stay where I'm staying. And then I'm in a bunk room, scared shitless, dude. I'm hearing fights at night. And it's like real life ghosts. I'd see like feet creeping around the room at night. I saw a shadow near my doorway, sort of walking back and forth.
Oh,
sort of scoping out.
like No Country for Old Men. Like you're watching the door and the hallway
Dude,
light
and you
is
can see
blocked
those
out for a
footprints and you can
second.
hear them standing. And then they hear me sort of react. They hear me react, but it's like a cockroach. The light's going on and you hear them scurry away. And then like 15 minutes later, the lights are back off, and then you hear the steps, boom, boom. And I'm like, oh, these people will keep coming. They don't care. They will just eventually wait, and they go like this drunk blackout. Yeah, we fucked it. We went a bit early. We'll get him in 30 minutes, or the next 30 minutes, or the next 30 minutes. But man, oh my God. So I'm in this hostel. It's not feeling like a holiday, dude. There's backpackers living rough, having stir fries, going, how good is this? I'm like, this is worse than my life at home. I'm like, this isn't a holiday, dude. I'm like, you've got cheap chicken and making a stir fry. Welcome to fucking Hollywood. This sucks. I'm like, just go back to your home country and get on welfare. It's better than backpacking. Don't you think? And then you can hear them swarming around. They're all breeding.
So how long were you in LA for?
Oh, mate, too long. But I started off.
How long?
Maybe like 14 days.
Right.
And it was just out of body, dude.
Because it
when I
seemed
arrived,
like you got there and you immediately
hated it.
So it's like you had some expectation and it was shattered quite quickly.
Well, I arrived and I was like, everybody, Hollywood. That's everybody loves Hollywood. And then I was like, I got there and I was like, oh, dude, this Uber is like $120 to get to my thing. So I go, I guess I'm fucking getting the bus. And then I was at, what was that? I ended up getting a bus in right near Skid Row. The main the main station there. I forget what it's called. United or I wish I remembered. It's too many weeks ago, dude. But then I was I walked. I walked from the airport to my hostel effectively.
Right.
I snuck onto a bus.
How far a walk is it?
I snuck onto a bus, and even the degenerates were paying, but I had to sort of pretend I was on my phone and then scurry off into a bush. Because I'm like, hey, dude, I've got a lower budget than you. Hey, if anyone should be mugging people, it's me. I'm fucked. And then I thought, centre of LA, I'll just walk to Hollywood. I walked to Sunset Strip. So that took like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
with
it's
the cart.
like, were you not concerned when you were flying in? Because from the plane, the city doesn't end. Like it's the only place I've flown into where you can't see the outside of the city from the plane. Like it's just suburb housing. Like it just keeps going, and
Dude,
you're like,
it
what
never
the
ends.
fuck?
It never ends. But the thing is, because you're a tourist, you treat it almost like a movie. You're like, how cool's this? I'm on the set of Cops.
Yeah,
I'm
and
loving
it is also the set of so many movies that it doesn't really feel real when you're there.
None of it feels real, and then it's sort of like they're gangster people there, and you're like, yeah, but I've also saw you as Steve Urkel in another movie. You're just branded. I'm like, you got a chain, but you look quite small. I know you look like you're from a gang, but I'm like, what role did you play in the last sitcom? I'm like, hey, what's going on? Poking him. Some guy came up to me and said, I will pay you never to laugh like that again. Because I laughed at him. I was like, and he was like, but I just was in shock, dude. And then, so you're just wandering the streets and it's fucking human trash. It's ridiculous. They're parts of the footpath where you can't get through the tents. And you're like, come on, at least give me a path through. I don't want to stand in your sleeping bag like the floor's lava. I'm like, I want to respect you guys. I'm like, can you at least make a tunnel or have some areas where we can jump? At least let me able to jump your stolen trolley and sleeping bag and get to...
I was gonna say, so you're there for 2 weeks.
And they've run wires, right, from the ground. Like these people, some of them are set up. You're like, what the fuck? There's wires going down into the sewers, and they've got electricity. They've got their own sewers. And then so I arrive, and then I walk. And it gets progressively better, dude. But I go through some real dicey areas. And I realized at the end of my trip, I put on Google Maps, gang areas, and I was like, fuck. I'm staying in bad spots.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And you're stepping over people that have sort of passed out. Oh man. It's a lot. It reminded me a lot of India. Do you know, with that big disparity between wealth?
Yep.
Do you know? And then overarching it all, you got the Hollywood Hills with the celebs looking down on like an ant farm, looking on all us waving up, going, I'm creative. Why have you got an infinity pool? But yes, I walked the whole way, and progressively I got more and more depressed. I hit the Hollywood signs. I was like, this is hell on earth. I'm starting to hate this. I started to get more and more uncomfortable. Then, as I said, I arrived to my accommodation and thought, relief. I'm going in. By the way, I fucked my accommodation because I panicked the night before because I suddenly late into it. The prices had dropped. So I tried to cancel mine.
Oh, no.
To book another one. And when I went to book the next one, that wasn't available anymore. So there's a period like I was like Mary and Joseph in Bethlehem. There was a period on my flight where I had no accommodation. And I was like, I'm fucked up. And I looked at the terms. They were going to keep the deposit, which was hundreds of US dollars. And I'm like, now I'm totally fucked. My bed's gone, but I managed to convince them to take me back in, that it was an admin error. But they agreed to take me for 3 days. But as I said to you, the reprieve, you never get away from these people because you swipe into your accommodation and half of them follow you like flies do in the summer through the fence. They're all staying in there. You're like, oh my God. I honestly at the end thought, I'm just going to get a tent. It seems safer. A tent seems safer.
And how were the gigs while you were there?
Oh, gigs were good, but night one was a shocker, hey? Because third night I went to Comedy Store. ran into an open mic comic from Sydney who was louder than me. I'd already been there. Yeah, she was louder than me, and she was drunk. And they're going, hey, this is your Aussie mate. And I don't know if people thought we were dating. She looked like she's from Housos. We're wandering around. And that's my first impression with all these famous people. Yeah, fucking truck of shit in the Barbie. I'm like, I don't know her. We're watching a show, and they kept telling us, look, you can't take photos. You've got to be quiet. She never listened. We got removed. I got kicked out night one. Store. We got told, get out of here. You're not welcome. I was no, this was actually night 2 or 3, I think. But I was Devo. I'm like, dude, you've totally fucked me. I came here to do comedy. I've just been banned from the best club in the world. In one night, I'm not even performed. But as it turned out, so then she said, oh, well, she was staying at the same hostel. This was night 3. I had 1 or 2 nights left. All these numbers I know seem very rubbery, and it's because it's months ago. Yeah. These are all valid. But I checked out the morning after. When I found out she was staying there, I was like, I can't handle this. And I just booked a hotel somewhere else. This is how my budget blew out. I booked fucking a hotel. After 3 nights, I'm going, this is bullshit. Traveling to live worse. I'm like, so I moved into better accommodation. But the gigs, unbelievable, dude.
Yeah.
But all that shines is not gold. That's what you realize.
Yeah. Well, you didn't break through anywhere or make any friends.
It was about as fun as going to Madame Tussauds. Like, whoa.
The Wax Museum
of
Comedy.
I saw Judd Apatow bombing. I saw him bombing. I did my classic move of like, you killed it up there, man. That's killer. And he's like, I'm trying my best. He said that, I'm trying my best. But it's so hard to get access to the celebs because you'll talk to them and you get a combo going, but then there's so many open micers trying to do the same thing, trying to sort of just leverage, and you'll be like, get out of here. Like, you're just talking to them to try to get something. And I'm like, obviously, that's exactly what I'm doing. But I want it. I don't care that you worked the door at the Comedy Store for years. I want to talk to Theo Von now.
So did you make any? Did you make any
30
friends?
hours. Dude, I met a lot of people.
No, but did you make any friends?
Yeah, man, I made friends.
With who?
I spoke to so many people that were famous, but I didn't realize. Because when I came back,
okay,
now I see podcasts and I see like Tom Segura and I'll see the regular person now. I'm like, I thought that was a guy with bottle glasses, a homeless bottle, like a guy that snuck onto the patio at the Comedy Store. I said, I wish I hadn't spoken down to him the whole trip. I didn't know he was a big deal. I was like, dude, what's with your glasses? I said to one comic that had big googly eyes, I was like, dude, you look like that woman from the Guinness Book of Records, with the starlight.
It's like the Ripley's Believe It or Not eye pop out lady.
You're like Ripley's Believe It or Not. You know that black woman with the big eyes? And it's like, come on, man, that's a bit too much. And I'm like, dude, that's funny. Hey, dude, look at you. You look even more startled now. You look crazy. You're going to be huge. But dude, my favorite comics, of course, so I performed in a lot of them. The best thing is if you say you're a comic, you can get anywhere. So you suddenly have me standing alongside Tiffany Haddish. And she's like, who is this guy? And she's just been on a Kevin Hart movie. And I'm standing with her going, what's been up? And she's like, who let him in? Like, there's this rule that if you say you've done comedy, you can just come in. So suddenly famous people and a lot of African-American, I don't know who any of these people are. My favorite comic were the open micers.
Yeah.
I did Laugh Factory, and they were slinging on all sorts of shit. And mate, the deranged, crazy open micers are always still the best worldwide. There's a guy doing a bit about Jeffrey Dahmer, like that he didn't. You didn't cook the meat right. Black meat dry. Black meat dry. You need gravy. He goes, they're not cooking the meat right. And I was like, this is the best bit I've ever heard. Black meat be dry. And I was like, well, get him a Netflix special. And then he acted like that he was retarded. I never go full retard. And I was like, wow, this is the greatest comic alive right now. All to dead silence except for me howling in the back, losing my mind, going, I'm so glad I flew here. I'm really learning. I'm growing.
Great.
Dude, we had some crazy things. So I did do gigs. I did, Amos hooked up a few. The best gig I did was...
Wait, hold on, like, because none of your LA friends were there. Like, Amos wasn't around.
No, Amos was there. We hung out every night.
Oh, he was there?
He was there for most
Why
of
are you
this
staying
depravity.
in a fucking tent city? Like, can't Amos hook you up?
Dude, he's in a studio. He's in a studio, and that's with wealthy girlfriend. This is the peak.
Right.
A studio is expensive. McCann stayed there, and dude, best story. McCann got he stayed there because McCann had been just ahead of me for all the trip, a week ahead.
Burning your bridges
all my
before you got
bridges,
there,
man.
right?
Burning it, overstaying his welcome on all my fucking handouts. By the time I messaged, I'm like, why is everyone going cold? I'm like, he stayed at Amos's house. He got fucking a tummy bug. So he was in a studio apartment on an inflatable mattress lying. He just met the girlfriend. He's lying on it and he had shit coming out from both ends.
Oh, fuck
And
me.
so they're in a studio and then he eventually went out of the apartment because they were just, he knew
Right,
he
he
shouldn't
had
have
to
been there.
leave.
So he was in the middle of like the secure complex and people were ringing saying, I think a homeless man has broken into our complex. It was McCann shitting into a plastic bag in the middle of this wealthy area.
Oh, fuck.
This disheveled man with beard and, his ginger hair, shitting and throwing up in the middle of their courtyard and people with lights going on at like 4 a.m. So what hope did I have, dude, while they're still washing the shit off their tiled floor?
Yeah.
But also, I've got pride. I would sooner get stabbed in Tent City than ask for help. Do you know what I mean? There were periods of panic where I'm sure Amos could see the desperation in my eyes. Like, please, I've told you so many anecdotes about how unsafe I am here. Please, man. Because I'd been saying to him, like, I understand guns now. I'm like, once they're in the populace, you need one.
It's hard to get rid of them.
I wanted a rental gun. I'm like, give me a gun. I'm like, I'm not going down. I'm not getting a gun. I want to hire a gun. I'm not going down with a rock in my hand like a coward. I'm like, I would sooner spray a housewife with her children than end up being attacked by a gang. I don't care. I'll say, look, I'm trigger happy. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was a McDonald's drive-thru. The bitch had twitchy eyes. I've slaughtered someone in the booth. I'm sorry. Welcome to America. I don't know what's going on. But, dude, you sense the guns in the air.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is I want death by cops, so I'm sniffing them out. I'm looking for them. And I think people can tell if you're crazy enough. I think it would be the same in prison. They leave you alone.
Yeah. So you
realize,
like you didn't get to. It wasn't everything you dreamed.
dude, it actually was, because it made me realize if you hung out there and worked, there was a girl that had worked on the door for 2 years. She's on Saturday Night Live now. If you hang around that patio long enough, harassing people, you'll eventually end up in one of the vehicles being driven off into the Hollywood Hills.
Right.
End up with cocaine.
Then why were you so depressed?
Well, because the second night I went in, and I'm sure they had all heard stories of, hey, there's 2 Australian meth heads that keep sneaking in into the comedy store. So I was chatting to like Don Barris and hanging out with all of them. But I think some of the other people that see me the night before, they're like, we're going to get food, and I said, yeah, cool, and they go, nah, like you're not coming.
We are going to get food.
We're going to get food. You're not coming. And I said, I won't forget this. And then they go, wow, that sounds pretty ominous. I'm like, yeah, it's a direct threat. I said, who knows what happens in life? Maybe I get successful, and rest assured, I'll burn the fuck out of you if I ever make it. I got a photographic memory and an axe to grind, you cunts. But Don Barras, man. And then look, some of the comics were amazing. The best comic I saw was Leslie Jones. Just unleashing. She came up dripping in sweat, reminded me a lot of me, yelling a lot, didn't really have much material, broke down, and then just started attacking white guys in the audience and telling their wife to leave him. He's a pussy. He's a pathetic. Look at this little
funny.
pussy. How'd you marry a pussy like this? Look at this weed. And then, like, the guy said nothing. They're just sitting startled. Look at this cunt. He's even worse. What a weak, lily-livered pussy. And I was like, this is my style. It's right up my alley. The best thing she did, so she leaves stage. She has a sweat towel on when she's on stage to wipe sweat from her face, which I loved. She left stage. Amos came and said, dude, you got to go to the car park. She was beating the shit out of a staff member from
What
Comedy
do you
Store.
mean?
She beat
Like
the shit
physically
out of her.
assaulting a staff member.
Look, I didn't see the full skirmish. I saw the tail end of it, like her whipping him in the head with her sweat towel. And she was pulled off, and she was yelling, that little bitch needs to learn not to talk behind my back. Don't talk behind my back, fucker. And other words that I'm not allowed to use. And then she left in a private vehicle, still yelling out the side of the car, he's a bitch. He's a little bitch. I won't not hit him. So I thought like that was going to make the news, but obviously that's just the way you treat staff over in the US. If you're not tipping, you're hitting. Hey, you got to have the extremes. Tipping as the other thing fucking sucked.
Yeah, tipping is a pain in the ass.
Because just the whole time. Do you know what I mean? You're just going to, oh man, it's just fucking, just drives you bananas. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, why don't they just take care of their, just pay your fucking employees? Why do I have to do HR and looking after them? I'm like, why don't you just, if you're setting up a pizza parlor and it's running well, reward the people that are involved. Why do I have to fucking reward them? Do you know how much of a cunt are you? You set up Jim's Pizzas, you're making $500,000 a year, and you're like, well, it's on you, man. Life's hard. Welcome to capitalism. You're just a lowly fucking bitch carrying a tray. It's not on me to look after you. I'm like, she's wearing your fucking uniform. Pay for some fucking nappies for her daughter. Like, what the fuck do I have to go? And I don't have any engagement. I want a fucking pizza because I'm blackout drunk. I don't want to make reparations because you're underpaying your staff, because you don't have any goodwill. How about building a team rather than just telling everyone, each to their own, life is suffering, cunts. Do you know what I mean?
And then you got back.
Who better to pay for an employee than someone that knows them rather than me that sees Stacey with rollerblades on selling me a fucking hamburger and a slushie, and I've got to have empathy for her. I don't care.
And then you came back. Yeah. You titled.
Oh, dude, you got to tell. I had proper gigs though. I had gigs. It was great. Do you know why?
Yeah, you say something about them then. I've asked.
Oh, dude, the best one was Hermosi, which was that was the funnest one. I didn't do, and then I had some ones out of the city linked with that guy.
Yeah.
But you know what was amazing is people said, "Oh, well, how's it going to translate?" I'm like, it goes way better because I'm like, man, well, I've got the benefit of the fucking foreign accent. I'm a character. When I say something homophobic, it's cute. And they go, it must be an Australian thing. This slur would get me kicked out of Perth. Suddenly they go, it's Australian. They don't know. They're giving me the benefit of the doubt. They go like, did you hear the way he said crocodile? I'm like, that's wrong in Australia. I'm a moron. And they're like, I love this guy. He's a real Aussie character. I'm like, I'm hated in Australia. You stupid idiots. But they would give you so much benefit of doubt on stage. Like, they would laugh just at your voice. I'd never experienced such joy. You coming up, hello, how you going? What's up? What's up? They've never heard you say g'day. They're like, wow. Like they're at a fucking theme park. So the comedy is about 9 times easier because you're a novelty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're getting claps. You're yelling. It's a weird sort of out-of-body experience. They're clapping and howling, but more like you're the strange kid at school sort of laugh, the mocking laugh.
Right.
You know the laugh where you remember a guy, like a disabled guy would walk on the bus and then everyone would sort of, you had in jokes with him. He thought he was in on the joke, but it was really at his expense. And even when you laughed, you had a bad feeling in your gut that you knew deep down you weren't really his friend. Even when you weren't around the group and you supported him and spoke. Honestly, he was just basically a pinata, a whipping boy to build your social standing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what I was in the US.
So you had good gigs and you went around and people enjoyed your presence, but there were no invitations from them.
Dude, there was because the gigs I did at which was the gig that like Leno does every Sunday.
Yeah.
The night I was on, I don't know who these people were, but
It wasn't Leno.
I've looked at it subsequently, and it's like they're good acts on there. That guy said, whenever you want it, you can come back. You know, paid gigs. So it's like I'll book you on the whole run. So like I can get, and the booker and the other gig goes, I go, that sucked, and he goes, what do you mean? You were flying. You had them. You had it. Like it's something like over the top Jersey boy. You were flying up there, man. You were flying. So it went well. I can come back next time and get paid gigs, man. So you couldn't hope.
Wait,
for a
they
better
weren't
outcome.
paid gigs?
That was the worst one. I had one like an hour Uber out of LA, and I went there, and I did 15 at the front.
Yeah.
I hate going at the front because I'm crazy and it scares the fuck out of everyone, but I did it.
Yeah.
And then we're sitting in the green room, and he came and gave envelopes to everyone except for me. And I was like, what the fuck? The two guys after me bombed, dude. I'm like, and they were saying, oh, they've done well. I'm like, the guy bombed. He stunk the room up. He gets money? What the fuck? Give me his fucking envelope. He's a scam. But also, I was all right with it because nerdy people scared the fuck out of me. They were like, oh, dude, if you get caught gigging for money, like you'll get your visa revoked forever. You end up in jail. You end up in jail with the SPF. You do 30-year sentence in Rikers Island.
Sure,
because you did one open mic. You'll end up probably shot. Dude, that was the best moment of. We went to a dive bar with Amos and another comic, and they have like the police chases on TV. It's like sport. And the whole bar's cheering when he gets away, and the guy got out of the car and then hijacked another vehicle, and everyone was hooting and cheering, loving it as they saw like the old woman thrown to the ground. We're like, yeah, what a play! This is living, boys. But I looked in the background, and it was right near where I was getting like my coffee. It was close to my hostel. I was like, dude, that's where I'm staying. How good's that? My hostel's on TV.
That's great, man. Home team.
And then when the guy gets arrested, everyone boos. Boo. And I'm like, fucking fuck the police. And I'm like, I love this place. I love it. But yeah.
Right. So then you came back. Now you've had you called next year's show Retard Hour.
Dude.
You had Perth Festival put it up and then come back a couple weeks later.
No, it was get it right. It was Retard Day.
Yes, you stylized
Retard
it the
Day.
same way I was forced to stylize the podcast episode.
Yeah. So
Because
I
the
put Retard Day.
podcast had an automatic profanity filter, and they're like, no, you can't use that word.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look, so I put that up, and I was a bit worried about it because I haven't really written a show, and I thought like, fuck, you need a good hour to back up a title like Retard Hour. You can't go up there with notes. I had nothing on disabled people, by the way, except myself, and it was like, dude, I snuck it in on the Friday. I thought Retard Day Hour, which is delayed in French or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So there's an angle. and I thought it was delayed because of COVID. We're a year or two late. There's an angle there. It's enough to get away with. You know when you trick your teacher and you use a slur that's marginally changed and they can't technically. I'm like, it's a military reference, miss. It's still homophobic, okay, mate? And you're like, I'm sorry. Just joshing, Miss Parker. But yeah, so that was up. I was riding high. I used AI to create the image. AI with me holding a potato.
How did you make that image with AI, by the way? Because it's a weird image where it's like it's like a little cartoon character thing, but it looks like a king. It's kind of it kind of shares some similarities with you, but it's really weird.
It was one of the weirdest things because AI is PC as well. So a lot of my things were blocked. When I said Down syndrome boy with a shotgun on a horse, no! That's offensive to the group. Bees, reconsider the way you're engaging with society, sir. And I'm like, so then I eventually took, it was Jesus in a medieval oil painting, and so I had that to start, and then I said,
So that was the actual image that you're working from.
Yes,
was
I
a real
wrote Jesus
painting?
in medieval painting holding potato, and they painted that, and then I said, convert to me, and then I said, add psychedelic childish hints, and that's what came out.
That's good.
And I was like, this is beautiful. I said, make it childish, make it pathetic, and I was like, you know what? If you squint at that, it looks like me. It's the same as if you squint at a down, say, almost look. Nah. I'm just okay, but
and
anyway,
so Perth said no, but they put it up and then they said no later.
it was up.
Yeah.
I was picking my kids up from school when I made the change because the first one was called "Old Material, New Shirt." So like, so I was just going to wear a new shirt and do the same show.
That's good.
So I had Old Material, New Shirt, which was the exact show, but I wore a different shirt to the year before. Then that was not selling well because the marketing was basically, I can't be fucked. I'm not writing a new show. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You buy tickets. I was charging $30, which is a fucking ripoff. So then I went to Retard Hour. All sales dropped off the cliff. No, people not happy. I lost a lot of followers. Instagram was diving by the second. People, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. This is like draining a bath. Like these numbers are fucking falling off a cliff. I'm like, I don't have many people, but so I was looking at my thing, refreshing, and it was like dropping by 20, 30 people every click. And I'm like, I need to fucking plug this up. But so I had already concluded I might need to plug this up.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great thing because I thought, well, you're not going to get any fucking nerds in the show. No one's going to tell.
Sure.
No reviewer is going to say, so I've reviewed Retard Hour. It's a beautiful masterpiece. And I thought, I'm not going to have a housewife complaining because she will just complain by the marketing. She's not going to come in and then hear me saying, I think the Taliban have got the right idea. 7 virgins or 14 or 40 virgins. It's beautiful. I love the Taliban. Like they're always going to be upset.
Yeah.
But then, I got a few complaints. I got a ton of complaints because I put it in on Friday just as it closed. And it was a tough one, man. I was at school and I had to ring up the girl and say it over the phone. In person, I was like, hey, she goes, so what's the new title? And I went like silent for a bit. And I was like, and then I said, I'll send through the marketing. And when I sent the email, I was like, this does not feel good. Something feels wrong about this.
Yeah, having the same feeling as, I guess
On the
before
bus.
back in school. Yeah.
I had a feeling like I did on the bus. I was like, this does not seem nice, but I like it. And so then I sent it through. And I got swarmed on the weekend with people. Also, more senior comic reached out and said, what is this? Come on, mate. You're better than this shit. You're better than this shit. You're actually a good comic. You don't need to be doing shit like this. She goes, this is fucking offensive. Can you imagine someone reading this? A mum of someone?
Can you imagine anyone reading this?
Reading this on their website and just thinking. Anyway, so I agreed. I said I was going to take it down, but the joy was Monday morning hit round. I logged in and I had an email saying, look, we do not allow slurs in the titles of comedy shows. This is very offensive and it has been changed back to the old thing. All right, please let us know if you want another title. So then I'm like, dude, I did not want to provoke. I love all humans. And I was like, I don't want to provoke. I could have doubled down and said special needs hour. But I was like, I'm actually not attacking. I'm not attacking these people. No. No, I'm not trying to be provocative. I was just bored. I was probably having a manic episode. I can see how Kanye went for Hitler. I'm like, he makes some good points. I was just in a weird vibe, just thinking, burn it all.
Yeah.
You know, you get in that vibe, burn it all. So then I changed it to fire in the urinal, and I made a new AI image. And no, the thing is, the title has no meaning. It's just because I have been so lazy and haven't written anything, I'm not using my good titles for trash.
The Gold Coast one is still up. I haven't been able to change it yet.
Dude,
Gold Coast is still retard hour.
I love the idea of because I actually got banned for it, but the person that told me to change it, I said, no, obviously I'll do the right thing. It's ridiculous. I'm disgusted at myself and at life, and I've taken a wrong turn, and I'll seek therapy. And I said, I will ring immediately. And then I got an email from them going, proud of you. Thanks for pulling it down. Little did they know it got pulled down against mine. Who knows what might have happened? I'm so lazy, I might have just run with it and seen what happened. But the good news is all the retardes can rest easy and sleep comfortably at night because I am no longer a threat to their world.
That's true.
And I mean, I would have unsettled everyone. And I'm just saying, rest easy, guys. I'm picking up trash on the beach to pay penance for my divergence of being a good human. I'm sorry.
That's it is proof that the podcast is quite insulated.
Oh, dude, it's unbelievable because I thought, you know what? I'm just going to call each show one of the titles from the pod, our award-winning podcast. That numbers drop off like a cliff. What happened to the second 2 episodes ago? We must have said something because the numbers just fell off the cliff, and now they're back. But I assume a lot of people had turned it off in anger, and it could be something like this. The retardé could upset someone.
I don't know because if they've downloaded it, it's a stat. You know?
Yeah, I would like to see the retention on apps because when I had Circling the Drain, I could see when I spoke that people tuned out. Like I could see it drop. It would drop 20%, then it's good. Sam Campbell's on. It's building back up. Then I'm on, then it drops. And it's like I was gravity on the listenership. Gravity, they would disappear. They would say, oh, Sam, loving it. Then I'd go, interesting point, Sam. And then it was like, world hates this man. World hates this fucking pig.
Well, with our infrequent release schedule, our retention's actually pretty good. A lot of the episodes are up higher than 100% because people go back and listen to them again.
Dude, they go back into this sick cult and just regurgitate stuff which will not serve you well in life. Because hot tip, homogeny is how you do well in this life. Conforming.
Yeah.
It's not lashing out because you didn't get the life you wanted. It's not really a good mindset to take to your day job.
No.
It's much better to go like, Jeff, I just really appreciate having Christmas Day off. Obviously, with my son about to lose his life, it was nice to hold his hand one last time. Thank you, Jeff. Anyway, I will now retreat back to the warehouse and pack. Like, most employees are treated like Mandela Man. Did you hear Mandela? He only saw his grandkid once when he was in Rhode Island.
Wait, what are you talking about?
He didn't get many visits. He'd get one a year, and his grandkid had been born, and he wasn't allowed to see it because kids weren't allowed on the island. And Winnie Mandela snuck it in under a coat, and the guards found it and said, "No, not seeing it." And there was a guard that broke the rules and held the baby up, probably by its leg or neck, to a glass window, and he saw it for a split second. And he mentioned it in his inauguration speech, going like, I owe that man the world for hanging my grandson through the glass for that 13 seconds. That gave me the hope to keep going for another 13 years of hard labour, chipping away at Blue Rock.
What is your point?
What's this?
What is your point?
What were we talking about?
I don't know. That's why I don't know.
No. We were talking about something. It was relevant.
I don't know.
We were talking about how your boss will bestow on you a kindness over Christmas and say, you know what, Jenny? Take 13 minutes off to ring your family on Christmas Eve.
What the fuck? Wait, why are we talking about this? Why has this come up?
Well, we were talking about... what were we talking about?
Podcast retention.
No. There was some reference that led me into saying, yeah, it's like when your employer gives you a brief break over
You
Christmas.
said the word. You said the word
I was talking
homogeneous.
about. I get it now. This is the flow. I talked about taking my attitude into the world, how it serve you well, and I said, no, you're actually better off to be subservient and grateful for the small granules that you're handed to by your employer.
Right.
And then I said, you should thank your boss that you got 12 minutes to Skype your kid from the mines
Right,
on
and then
Christmas
we-
Eve.
and
And
then
I said, it's a bit like Nelson Mandela, who was grateful for when he saw his grandkid for 13 seconds through a glass window. And I said, look at the way it worked out for him. That attitude. Thank you, mate. Thank you for hanging the baby through a glass window. You've changed my life. You've restored my faith in human beings.
Fuck me. Okay.
And that was the link. So it all's logical.
I think I just got a bit lost in this somewhere.
This is why I'm in trouble for my show, dude. And you know what the best is? I'm on Chat GPT. It's writing my show for me.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that was banned. A lot of it's another like racist chatbot thing, isn't it?
No, it's AI bot. It's doing everything for me. I only communicate with my ex with this AI bot. I write
How do you do that? You write what she says into
write
it.
a letter reminding my ex that it's important to supervise the kids and not just go to get your car repaired and leave a 3 and 7-year-old in the house
What the
unsupervised.
What?
And then
Wait, what happened?
Well, they just got left in the house when she went to get her car repaired. They come out. I picked them out, and it's like it's like they're in Vietnam coming out from one of those tunnels. They're shocked by light. They look like, like someone that have been salvaged from a bunker or a dungeon of a serial killer. When I meet them, they're like, Daddy, it's so bright out here. I'm like, have you seen the sun? What have you done for the last week? They're like, it's bright. My skin hurts. I'm like, where have you been? We've been in the bunker. Buried, probably in a cupboard. In a cupboard while she flirts and dances, looking for the next partner. The next honey trap. What's that banging? What's that sound we can hear yelling from the cupboard? Don't worry, I'm your girl now, Jeff. She'll probably end up married, and I think it's possible she ends up remarried and they don't actually know she has kids. They're just a banging in the cupboard, and she feeds them at night. like what was that? What was that? The one in Germany?
Fritzl, Joseph Fritzl.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
My sons are going to live the life of Anne Frank in an attic, being fed by their mum.
I think you saying Anne Frank has made me look bad, by the way, because I feel like Joseph Fritzl is a reference that fits a bit better.
No.
But you've gone with Anne Frank.
No, they're still going to provide. She'll still look after them, but they'll be living in the roof system of a wealthy benefactor that she's married, and she'll sneak them at night, and they'll be in the insulation, and she'll put food up through the air conditioning ducts and keep them alive while she moves on with her life. And then I'll pick them up and go, what did you do this weekend? And we fought off rats near the top insulation duct. It went for our food, Daddy, but the younger one had a knife and he killed it. And we ate that as well, Daddy. Anyway, great to see you again. I'm like, how's your reading going, boys? Have you done any homework? We haven't even been to school, Dad. We claw around the days into the side of this beam. While we hear Mum fucking this new man.
Has this been
Pounding.
an issue over Christmas? I take it it's been.
Oh, dude, Christmas, unbelievable. I arrived to pick them up. There's a new guy there, a fat guy that's tattooed up, sitting on the couch. And I'm like, Merry Christmas. Pleased to meet you. He's got a clammy, sweaty hand. Girls that are into sweat seem to revolve around me and these types. And my boys came out looking startled. They'd never met the guy. He's there on Christmas morning. Just a random in their space.
Wait, there's a new guy who's coming in on Christmas of all days, and you ask the kids, who is this? They don't know.
No, and they
fucking
they
wild.
meet on Christmas morning. So when they're unboxing their secondhand Xbox, it's who knows, probably stolen from a house.
He's boxing her.
He's boxing her, but I'm like, so they have Christmas, and there's just a new guy there that hangs around all day, goes to their events. The worst moment, this was the worst moment. She was meant to drop them to me. They never came, and she goes, where are you? And I was like, waiting for the boys. And she goes, oh, no, I thought you were coming to get them. So I come to get them. And I was like, I spoke to the boys and I was like, well, what the fuck? How did this guy, because the guy there, I don't even think has a car. She went to the train station to pick up this guy and left them in the house, but she wasn't able to loop around and drop the kids at my house. I had to drive to get them. So they left at the house while she goes to collect a new boy at a train station. And I'm told, where are you? Where are you? I'm like, I've seen the messages. You're meant to bring them here. I'm sorry that you went to pick another guy up and then you left them at home. I'm like, couldn't you loop around when you went to go pick up condoms or whatever and drop them at my house? Grab your condoms and do your blood test, your morning after pill or whatever the fuck you need. And drop my kids at Christmas Day, please.
So did you have a good Christmas?
My son looked startled the whole time. He looked like he'd seen a ghost.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Dude, by the way, speaking of seeing a ghost and having that fear of, you know, when I said that riff on here that, she was saying they're lactose intolerant. I said, I think your new partner's playing with their dick. Or something.
Right.
Playing with their dinger. I've tried that on stage so many times. I go, squizzling with this dingle, playing with this diddle stick, and like, never worked. And I did it at the Comedy Lounge, and I got a complaint. There was a lady in tears. She had been molested. And I was like, some of my most successful friends were molested. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It's a blessing. Dude, did I ever tell you that a guy came to a comedy thing, a woman came to a comedy thing with a boy, a small boy, maybe like 11. He loves comedy. He wants to be a comedian. Do you have any tips? And I said, well, dude, I think I've done this on the pod.
Well, what did you say? I don't remember.
She said, do you have any ways you could probably help him out? I said, the best thing I could probably do for him is take him into the bathroom and molest him right now. I was almost like, you're a long way from home, Toto. This is comedy. People are black here. But I washed it away. It was in anecdote. It was charming. I didn't do that, guys. Anyone listening that's been molested, go see a counsellor. Talk about the crime every day.
So what did you and the boys do for Christmas?
I need to send this message out to anyone listening. If you have had sexual assault.
Oh my God, what did you and the boys do for Christmas?
Go and see a counsellor and dredge up that past over and over again. Time heals old wounds, not if you pick at them. Pick at that scab forever. Anyway, go on, moving on.
What did you and the boys do for Christmas? How was Christmas? Aside from
Christmas, one of the worst. This is my Christmas. So I'm fuming about that. I tried to just internalize it, and I play with the kids briefly in the pool. When I picked them up at 10. She goes, yeah, can you have them back at 10:30? I'm like, dude, that's bad. I'm like, it's a 20-minute trip, so like I will be late. I must stand here and open the presents on the driveway. So I'm like, no, please, can I have just 13 seconds through the glass window like Mandela, man? Can I just have a little look at my boys and maybe feed them chocolate, get them sunburnt. So anyway, I had them. We played with them. They were dropped back by 11. So I had 45 minutes of Christmas.
Jesus, are you serious?
Yeah, 45 with my boys. A bit of a swim. They had all their presents. They didn't get to use any of them. Sorry, boys. Got to head back to meet the new man. The new.
What's his name? What's
sausage.
the new one? What's the new one's name? Has he got a good name?
Dude, it's I forget what it is. It's something generic, like either would be a plumber, electrician, or butcher's name.
Like a Craig.
No, like a Paul or an Ian. Paul. She said, I think his name was Paul. I said, Paul. Yeah, he's Paul. Got a bus here. He's a piece of shit. No. It was I think it might have been Ian. It might be. We haven't moved into the Alfonsos or we've not. I don't know what we got.
I feel like you would start like the Alfonsos are one you start with. You know what I mean? Like you go from Andrew with kids, and then you go Alfonso. That's the one that like breaks everything apart, and then it goes from Alfonso,
the hairdresser. You get the hairdresser, and he's sort of a gay guy looking for cover, and he's loving to everyone.
That's
that's
your Alfonso, right?
Alfonso's he runs a ladies' hair salon, and he also goes partying a lot. He seems to hit Sydney during the Mardi Gras, and he goes out and I don't know why he's got amyl nitrate in the shed, whatever. But you know what I mean. And he's very caring with the kids, treats them like pets, does their hair, dresses them in outfits for the parade.
And then you move into a Richard or another like good 2-syllable name. A Richard or like a Stephen, not a Steve, a Stephen. One of them, and then eventually you start working your way around through the Craigs and the Pauls,
and then you end up with Andrew.
Well, then you start getting closer and closer to Andrew. You know what I mean?
And then eventually, and then basically once you've gone through the 12 disciples or however many people you have to fuck, you end up.
You just end up very close to where you started. You know what I mean? Like if Andrew's 11:59,
at that point, you're real friendly and go like, "I'm proud of you. You've turned around your life. We should at least catch up sometimes to have fun. Just have a chat, hang out, and suddenly it's nice." Because one of the best things when they have a partner is they're in game faces on. PR's at its best. Oh no, lovely to see you. Beautiful day. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I'm like, wow.
No. The PR for Richard is really strong. Alfonso is the one that you're being complained about too. You know what I mean?
No. But I'm saying the way she treats me.
That's what I mean.
When there's a partner around is unbelievable.
That's what I mean. So Alfonso, you're getting treated like crap because you're on the outs, and Alfonso is like, "This man, you must leave this man. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You come away with me. We go to my country. It's a beautiful place." And then that eventually dies out after she's left. And then the Richard is where it's like he wants to be around the kid, so he's nice and she's nice and she's like, he's a bit hard to be with and
no, Richard's definitely had military background and he keeps wanting to take the kids camping just with him. Do you know what I mean? And he's got shell shock and he's more like, I was in the Army Reserves, and you sort of check it out, and he'd done a 3-week sort of Army Reserve course, but he's very military operated, and they've got those sort of camping chairs, and he seems to often have a flashlight. He carries one of those big sort of security flashlights.
The one that's long
out.
enough to bash someone with.
Yeah, and he sort of takes the bins out, and he's the only guy that has a flashlight, and he's wearing camo pants. I know this man.
Well, I think that might be a bit past.
He's a fisherman.
That might be a bit past the Richard that I'm thinking of. But
okay,
I feel
Richard.
Like the
but
name could fit.
Alfonso gets my ex because he does her hair. And he goes, "Oh, Nicole, your hair's so dry. Look after yourself. Look at the strands. You got to focus on yourself more. You're doing all the cleaning, the cooking. Who does the cooking in your house? It's horrible. I'll make you a lasagna. I'll make you suck my dick." No, I'm just joking. That's what he's saying.
If Richard is the military guy, that's a bit past like a Peter or someone who's quite
okay. But then
well-to-do.
You know what comes after Richard? Because Richard he snaps, so he punches holes in the laundry wall, and but he's nice, but he's sort of like, dude, he's like a stray dog. He's just got a short fuse. Sometimes he will punch 16 holes in the laundry door. He's never hit anyone, but you will come into a bedroom and go, "Oh, he smashed the TV." So then they move from that to the most boring, which is like an AI script, like this Chat GPT, that's very generic.
Yeah,
that says everything right, but they have no personality. So it's like I'm not sure what the name.
That's a David or a Dave.
And he's in tax.
Yeah.
He's the most boring human you ever met.
Yeah.
And he does everything right. I've organised a picnic. I've taken care, obviously aware of your keto diet and calorie thing. We've got it just right, and everything's mapped out. But you don't want to be with it there or with him at any point.
Yeah.
But he never does anything wrong. He's perfect. Book Bali, plan the trip. Book the trip early because I know how you don't like waking up.
And you never really have to deal with anything because you go around there and like he is like the cockroach. You know what I mean? Like David, you're like, "Oh, hey, David," and he's like, "Oh, hello," and then he kind of disappears. Like it's a family lunch thing or whatever, and like you never really hear from him. Or
you never deal with him, and he's very generic to her. It's like he spends a lot of time in the shed making model boats and collecting stamps. And what happens actually? Richard is never actually dumped. One day, Richard is just not there and no one notices. No one actually picks up that, "Oh, Richard died." And like your ex is not actually aware that some of Richard's stuff's still in the shed and he actually died in a road accident. and he was so insignificant that no one even knew. She just goes, oh, I just feel like there's more room in bed now. I'm like, no one's finishing the milk. But she never tweaks. And then maybe like 6 months later, she goes, oh, where's Richard?
Yeah.
And it's like...
It's like a real, didn't we have a cat moment?
Richard was cremated. No one came to his Skype funeral. No one was aware. His mum was still alive and she didn't really know who to reach out because she didn't know Richard had friends. So he was just buried, nonchalant, and just ashed somewhere. Ashed out like a cigarette on a night out.
And then we start losing syllables, and we even start losing like the diversity of letters.
Oh, dude, what about the young one? The young one comes in now where it's a 21-year-old.
Yeah, there's like a jazz or something like that. You know, something fun and
Jezza, and he's
you never meet him, but you see a lot of like Lynx deodorant cans, like when you go around to pick up the kids, or like there's
Lynx Africa.
There's a skateboard. You're like, what the is one of the kids skateboarding? And she's like, no. And you're like, what the fuck? Why is there a skateboard here?
And then you get requests. Hey, look, can you have the kids for 3 days because we're going to a festival? And we're probably gonna have pingers
But
and
you know
ketamine.
what? You know what? Jez might not necessarily be young, but he could be 40, but he could be he could have the hobbies of a 20-year-old. You know what I mean? Like an Arrested Development situation.
But Jez is like ravenous. Do you know what I mean? His testosterone.
The age doesn't matter so much. It's how he presents.
It's all driven by sex. They just basically pump the whole time, pumping. And then one day he realizes, oh my God, you know, they have a weird moment where, you know, like they realize that she is friends with one of his mum's friends.
No, you know what it is? It's like a moment where she brings something up and he goes, oh, is this supposed to be exclusive kind of thing? And she's like, what the fuck?
The penny drops.
He doesn't even know. He's just like, yeah, I'm fucking this broad with 2 kids.
Dude, and he has no idea. So she's on rotation, but he's so like pumpy that he's pumping multiple, but to her, they're in a relationship. To him, he's still in a ketamine haze and not even aware. He's not even sure that he's fucking her. And then she's very angry, like, why weren't you there for the younger one's birthday? And it's like, what? What do you mean? Like, none of it. And then sort of things trigger her as well because as the sex dies down, the combo gets awkward and weird where she'll refer, remember Recovery on TV? And it's like, what's TV? What's wrong with you? What do you mean TV? She goes, didn't you used to watch Agro's cartoons? And it's like, what's TV? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then, so then what happens? Then I think then they go into the mourning stage where you just go like, I'm just going to live alone. I don't need it anymore. And that's, you know, where it's just you're isolated. And I think after that point, they slowly try build up a friendship with their ex, and you end up in a platonic relationship just going on holidays with the boys. But you don't really get on, but you just realize life sucks and you're just counting down the clock at that point. You know, it's nice. It's nice to just have someone to sort of share the bill, share a sandwich with, and that's the relationship.
And so where are you at now? What's if that's midnight, if you were 11:59, and then 12:01 is Alfonso.
Well, where she is, she's still got to get through Richard, the military guy, Pumper, and then Pumper can be a lot of Pumpers because they all blur into one. Pumpers, she quits Pumpers when she gets when she contracts genital herpes and realizes that it's fucked. When she goes, dude, I'm 60 and I got herpes off a random guy that's got a paper round. This sucks. And she goes, I'm sick of lending my boyfriend's money. Because, you know what I mean? Whether it's their mum or dad chipping in for their electricity bill or me, I'm sick of it. They're not responsible. And then they go into the abyss, which is just like flatlining in a coma, and you just wait and you just try to smile for your boys so they don't know how bad life can get.
Yeah.
I would never bring someone in because I'm like, I don't trust anyone's motives, and I don't think anyone can love your kids as much as you do. And I find that annoying.
You find that annoying?
Well, it's fake. I love you. And I'm like, don't try and force a relationship. Do you know when they're going like, hey, why don't we do something together? You go, get the fuck away, you fake fuck. You don't like him. You don't even know him. Get out of here. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to imagine someone trying to become the mom and going like, oh, I'm so proud of him. No, you're not. You know you're not. You don't care. Don't lie. I'm so proud he's done so well at soccer. I'm like, do you? Or do you wish, I bet in a perfect world he's not exist, right? If we're honest. This is just an inconvenience. Like some people, you fall in love with someone like a Richard that's violent, but he's nice at other times, you know?
You seem difficult enough to be in a relationship without the added complication of there being children that someone wouldn't really want around.
Yeah, and I always said like I wasn't... I don't even like being around myself. So what hope does anyone have? I go on a flight. I'm like, shut the fuck up. This sucks. Shut up. Shut up. And I'm like, yeah, imagine trying to pitch that to someone as well. It's virtually impossible. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, hey, you know, like we've got to do some admin with the kids and then try hook up. Do you know what I mean? I'll just do a bit of reading eggs and I'll come in and grope your breasts, okay? Through the 90, whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted. Why are you exhausted? Oh, well, I've been in the pool with the kids. I did reading, schoolworks. I'm like, pop your breasts out. I'll give them a little rub. Then I'm going to bed in my own room. I hate this. Do you know what I mean? I've been talking about it on stage. I'm like vasectomies. I'm like, I want my whole penis removed. I love it. Just, it's a curse. Throw it in a bin. I want to be neutered like a dog.
It does seem quite freeing, doesn't it?
Do you know how good it is? And you just get belly rubs and cuddles, and that's your sex. And people go, dude, that girl's really interested in you. And you're like, oh, that's nice. And you just run off. And they go like, dude, she really wants to date you or fuck you. And you're like, oh, that's nice. Anyway, I'm going to go chase a fucking butterfly around the garden. I'm free. I go, I cut my dick off. Oh, sorry, you didn't know. I threw my dick out because it's cursed. Okay?
Because it's cursed. But you know, is the dick cursed or are we cursed with the dick?
All dicks are cursed, dude.
I think the dick is the curse. We are cursed with the dick.
This is what I feel like. You've got the women's movement and their feminist movement. I'm proud of it. The guys haven't started to move. What we need to do is to all remove our dicks. That should be like the male movement.
That would be pretty good.
You know what? We're aggressive white males, but my dick's just being flushed down the toilet. I buried it. And then they go, you know what? He's great now. He's back like when he was 8. You're just happy. You get excited at Sizzler birthday. You go to time zone.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, he's just so easy. He never gets aggressive. He's not jealous. He's not demanding. He just lies around. And you don't even play video games because you're not competitive because you don't have a dick. You don't do anything male. They're like, oh, do you want to play video games? What's the point? Why would you want to beat someone? I just want to lie in the sun. Do you know what I mean? And you're not challenging mates. Boys trip, don't want to really go. Just really want to lie in the backyard, like licking where the scar, where my dick used to be.
Yeah, just sort of doubled over like a cat, comforting myself.
Dude, you lick the scar. That's how you comfort yourself. Licking at the scar where your dick used to be. But dude, I think it's heaven. Because girls can't do that because you've got to gut so much out. Guys can have the dick removed.
Gut so much out.
Dude, you can kill them. There's so many bits up there. You're going to scoop it out. If everyone just agreed, once you've had a kid, you scoop it all out or cut it all off. And then we just all hug. And you can have sleepovers and you don't have some fucking crude Richard with a fucking erection changing the energy.
Man,
and you can just use ketamine and drugs to get your dopamine up. They're like, oh, well, how do you get high now? And I go, well, I smoke DMT in the shed.
Man, I saw it's an old article that something about it popped up again. It was from that before we all hated Elon Musk. It was some article about a trip to Mars being only female astronauts because it's like a 1.5-year trip and then there'd be no pregnancy or complication or whatever. You just pick one gender. But I think it's quite difficult it seems like a risky move to put just females into on the rocket to Mars, because if anything goes wrong, it really sets back the progressive movement quite far. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, it would look so bad. And then I love all the open mics will be hitting this topic going like, oh, they'd end up getting lost, bad drivers. And then, oh, what are they going to do? Do each other's hair and have a pillow fight? When that thing explodes and they go, oh, some idiot spilled Chardonnay down when they were doing a fucking crystal reading. Someone threw it on the monitors and exploded the thing. And then guys end up fighting. But yeah, man, it would
devastation, be hard. Devastation on the trip to Mars.
Dude, that's what's
today,
hard for females.
As it's reported that the rocket piloted all female astronauts has reversed into the moon.
dude, that's what open mic would be doing.
Dude,
but it must be hard for a female because they feel like, especially in areas where they're excluded, that they are representing the whole group.
Exactly.
Because we don't have it. We've already accepted that there's about 30% of men are fuck-ups, should never be born, and they suck. So you give them the benefit of the doubt. You just go, he was a fuckhead. But they generally do all right. Whereas theirs is like, point proved. Never fly a plane again.
If something went wrong, you know, like that would be so detrimental. That'd be such a huge problem. I wouldn't want to take that risk. That's a lot of weight to carry.
Dude, it's a lot weighing on there, hey?
Yeah.
And then you would just, the trolls would be in there. And they were like, and
just
Elon
waiting for any little fucking mistake.
Elon would be messaging, no, it was an operational issue. That's why it exploded. And goes, yeah, covering it up. Dude, I'm loving Elon on Twitter. He's so provocative and good.
I am so sick of this cunt.
Why? Do you know what I love about him? Is Twitter's the only unedited communication thing. Obviously, he edits it a bit, but he did those Twitter files. He's done, and it's just free press. Do you know what I found?
Whoa. Hold on. What part of it is free? He paid $44 billion for the platform.
No, a free press on the basis that now that it's less censored, because the Twitter files proved that the CIA and everyone was editing what was on there, right? And they were deleting stuff and changing it all. None of it, what I found amazing, none of it hit mainstream press. And I'm like, they were just saying, Twitter's going bankrupt. I'm like, whether it's valid or not, I think the fact that CIA had channels and was posting bullshit and deleting stuff warrants maybe page 7 on the paper, small article going like, we're not sure if this is true, but they never mentioned it at all. But I'm loving it now because it's free press on the basis that I can now write on Twitter, retard hour, and no one can stop me. No one can stop it. And they can just get angry, but no one...
but he has been doing his own censoring by his own metrics. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like,
he basically censored...
It's not... I don't really care either way on the censoring thing. It's just sort of not interesting. Like
the only thing
nothing's actually changed. I don't, and also who gives a fuck? Like he sucks. He just sucks.
No, dude, I don't agree with this. This is why our ratings are dropped. He is all right on the basis that I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like he's you hate him. You think he's shit?
I think he should be blood eagle, but I thought that way before he bought Twitter.
Someone doxed his house, so he banned a couple of those journalists because they mentioned where his son was getting picked up from school. And he said, look, we'll just delete them for 7 days. I personally think that the fact CIA was paying Twitter money to pervert what was fed to people and put channels on that they increased the exposure to get a message out there seems a bit grubby to me. I don't like it. I'd rather just have, hey, let's just see whatever's popular is popular, manipulating like that. And I suppose he would be doing it himself. But I don't know, man. Who cares? No one really cares. No one's aware of it. I spoke to my dad. He's like, what's going on?
Like, I'm coming from a position where, like, I never really engaged with the platform anyway. And so that's not that interesting to me because I was not engaging with the platform. And I guess it doesn't seem surprising.
Dude, you don't find it surprising that they've proven now definitively that the government was paying money to a private corporation to change, to censor and also to promote their messages?
No, that's not surprising at all. How is that surprising? They've been doing that forever. every
but they've
fucking
never,
government
they've never,
forward.
I know they always do it, but they've never really had a smoking gun that proves that a check has been written to do that. It's always just been a conspiracy theory. They've never definitively proved that the government is censoring and also doing propaganda. It's fucking propaganda, right? It's
I
propaganda.
feel like
They're
they have.
paying
I
for
feel like they
propaganda.
have proven that though. Like I feel like you could find many, many instances of that. Like,
And what it means is YouTube, Facebook, Instagram are all taking the money.
of course, I know.
Wait,
but
wait,
that doesn't really surprise me. I feel like there have been. I can't recall anything in particular. I'd have to go digging, but I
So
feel
you don't
like
get
there have
scared
been.
by the idea that we're all adults and then there's just some random other adults that go, whatever you do, don't let Andrew Wolf hear this idea because God knows what might happen to it. I'm like, just fucking let me hear everything. I'm like, I'll make my own calls. I don't need some other random guy in a suit determining what I do and don't know.
Yeah,
I
but
want all the information, dude. I don't want half the cards and they hide the others going like, don't risk it because it might create a movement. I'm like, there's no risk. There's just the truth. And you can say anything. You say retard hour, it sucks. And then I realized I regret it. I was having a Kanye West moment. I shouldn't have done it. But I'm like, there's no real outcome. But maybe it can get gravitas and suddenly all the pigs become pigs. But then we're pigs. So, if there's a bad message that takes traction, then maybe that's the direction we should go.
Well,
You know what
I guess
what I'm saying, who's curating and orchestrating society? Why don't we just let it fucking free flow?
because we did that with Cambridge Analytica. Like that kind of existed before.
That's a good example.
Yeah, because like there's there you go. It's not even like government spending money. It's candidacy spending money to become government, and it works.
Yeah. So you don't like, I like when Elon says, hey, should I make Mr. Beast, like Mr. Beast says, can I be CEO? And he goes, it's not out of the question. I love that this just annoys people. They're like, you're going to have Mr. Beast running Twitter? And they're like, yeah. And he writes annoying things. He's definitely more right-leaning, so there's an adjustment. Because people aren't used to having any right-wing ideologies in the media at all.
Yeah, I think, and that's a interesting new thing he's decided to fucking do.
Dude, there's no right wing.
I don't know.
No
It's just like
message.
he's never been a good guy. He's always been a shithead, and he's always he has always sucked. And his background is all like blood diamond money, and people are like, Elon. It's like, man, Elon's been a fuckhead for so long, and anyone in that list of top 10, I'd say even anyone in the list of like top 100 fucking wealthiest people, fuckheeds. Like there's some evil in there.
It plays directly into our WGO story, right?
Well, exactly. So you've been angry before about market manipulation, right? And Elon's a very public face of that.
Well, think about what happened with WGO, right? They found gas.
Yeah.
We knew it was worth it. And then these are the unfortunate situations that happen. Drill 3.
They dropped the drill.
Why have we got this fucking gun? Wow. They dropped. So now we.
Man, I cannot believe that this has been an on. Because I was going to get into WGO in a second as well.
Yeah.
It's been an ongoing.
But
since
listen
what?
to
20?
this
Is it 20? Is it? Did we start the pod in 2019 or 2020? But this was the WGO was one of the first tips, right? And it's been so many years, and like. The chain of events is insane because it's like the drill goes down a hole and it's taken this long for it to come good, but it has come good, which is nice.
But think of this sequence of things, right? From a conspiracy theorist thing. So at the end of it all is Gina Reinhart, Kerry Stokes, and Min, who ended up acquiring it. And then, so we knew there was gas back in the day, and then you've got a drill bit dropped in. Now there's nothing fucking potentially to stop Gina Reinhart to have paid those drillers to do that. And then
sure,
to pay them a huge, handsome amount because she knew the gas was there and didn't want it to consolidate. The environmental approval, the EPA, has been delayed for 2.5 years. It's never happened before. Now, also the gas, only Kerry Stokes' company can sell it internationally. There's restrictions on it. So if these guys, Gina and them, take it over, they can sell it. They don't have to do it domestically. So it's worth 3 times more to them. Then we buy it and we go, okay, we know the gas is there. It's worth about 80 cents. Then Regal comes in and they buy 10% of it and they put that on the supply in the ask so that it can never come above water. It's like your older brother holding you underwater in the pool. He holds you on the bottom of the floor, and eventually retail snaps because for 2 years I'm mocked, I'm scorned. What the fuck's going on? What the fuck's this? They do this, and then out of the blue, suddenly nothing's really changed except Drill 3 happened and the flow rates were confirmed, which everyone knew was going to happen. And suddenly now there's a bidding war for it because it's most of Western Australia's gas supplies coming from this area going forward. And I'm like, what literally happened? Their people abuse power. There's no way in a blue fit that this wasn't orchestrated from the beginning, that this wasn't a mechanism to take a 25-cent stock to 10 cents. And for what benefit? So that Gina Reinhart, instead of having $36 billion, can have 37. How are you going to spend it, Gina? You've eaten enough food for fucking 80 people. What are you going to do? What do you need? More fucking chocolate sundaes? Do you know what I mean? I've said it before. They should just food bag her waste. Her own shit should be sent to Africa. People could live off it as sustenance. She's a vile person. And we could have all won. We could have just had a natural... This gas should have already been on market. 2 years they halted it. We could have... I could have not had my name dragged through the mud and just had it sold at 80 cents. And don't underestimate how cheap they've got it for, because it's 38 cents now and it's worth 60 to 80 minimum, maybe more. And I'm like, they got it half price, dude. So why did they do it? Well, they got a half price sale at the expense of everyone. Do you not think they're grubs?
I think it's good. I think that I don't think
it's irrelevant, dude.
I don't think you're wrong.
Dirty. It's made me realize that the stock market is just for the rich.
Yeah, but Elon's one of those fucking people. That's why I put him in that same category. You know what I mean? Like every fucking public play he's made has.
Nah, man, you're wrong. Think about what he did. When he was 12, he spoke on camera and he said, "All I want to do in my life is." I think he was 12 because he's autistic, so he sounds 16 right here. It doesn't reconcile, but he seems older because he's read more books, because that's all he does, because he's getting bullied. He said, I want to do something that changes technology. So he's done that, right, which was PayPal, which was securing the internet. He said, I want to bring forward electric car, like a more efficient, clean transportation for human beings. And he said, I want to promote travel, space travel, you know what I mean? Moving humans beyond Earth. All three are being done. And I'm like, do you think flying to Mars is a good business? It's fucking insane. He's never going to make his money back. He's totally doing it because in case we get nuked, that we might have one small slither where 12 people, 12 females go and find a way to breed with each other on Mars and continue the species. So I'm like, his business, Tesla, is a shit... whatever, he brought it out and maybe he's making a little bit of money, but realistically he's going to get crunched. Then he's got the space thing, which is total shit. I mean, going to Mars for what purpose? Who gives a fuck? There's no easy win for him there. Do you know, even if he gets there, he's not making money off that. Do you know what I mean? So how can you say he's bad? Because it's burning all his money. He could just spend that on getting his dick extended over and over again until it's the longest dick in all of the universe.
Yeah, but then what... A lot of the majority of his involvement in these projects is bullhorning. Like he's just taking.
Oh, dude, 100%. He never made it. He's a marketer.
Yeah,
He didn't make Tesla. It was some other guys that got ripped off.
Yeah, he gets involved with at the engineering process.
It's like the UFC. Dana White came in. They were actually proper, like the Gracie brothers, and they'd set it up, but because they were so brutal. They just wanted to see people die in the cage, so no one would buy it. It wasn't on TV. And then a marketer like Dana came in and said, look, we'll just change it so, you know, that people don't end up brain damage directly after fights. We'll just slow it up just a bit, so that, you know what I mean? And marketing it. And I think that's what he did with the cars. He goes, you know what I mean? We'll get that little T. And everyone's so proud of themselves with their Tesla cars. It's such a claim to fame. Hey, I love that, you know, that you got the Tesla. I can imagine people's dicks tingling as they go in the car park about how fucking environmentally friendly they are. Even though they bought an old suitable Federation house, knocked to the ground to build some bullshit, and then have the gall to recycle their fucking their plastic. You know what I found funny? As I was thinking about it, almost everyone has knocked a house down and renovated with any money. A totally functional house, trashed, thrown in the bin, and then when you're in your new 2.9 monstrosity, you make sure to recycle the corn dip wrappers in a green bin. That's fucking insane. It's so fucking hypocritical that you go in, because those houses look way better. Do you like new architecture? So ugly.
No, not at all.
There's nothing to it.
Because Christchurch is all like quite nice, like European, like influenced, and like old homes, and they're all quite.
They had form.
There's a
function
style.
And
There's
form.
a style that you
art.
like. Yeah, and I feel like so much modern architecture is very samey. You know what I mean? Like you know vaguely the layout of the house when you go into it. Like especially with like obviously with new developments.
You go into a friend's house and you have deja vu going,
and
then you realize, it is your house. That they sold thousands of these houses, and then Harold Clough passed away, and Clough almost went under. And people were like, look at some of the great contributions he did to Perth. The Narrows Bridge, which is an engineer's monstrosity. It's literally the highway continues directly over the river. There's not a single, it could be like Sydney Harbour. It's literally like a footbridge over a thing. He goes, why would you have rails? Why would you make it look nice at all? We'll just have the freeway continue directly over the river. It just looks like a freeway over the river. And people are going, well, he did beautiful work there. I'm like, it's the ugliest fucking most functional road I've ever seen. The guy should have been shot in the head before he was given that contract. Fucking shit. And everyone lives like that. Do you know why? Because they don't really give a fuck. It's a lot of that influence where like, you just want it to function. So like, why would you doll up the house? Why even have a backyard? You might as well have another air-conditioned room. Total bullshit. You're going to end up cleaning it. You know what I mean? Gardening, doing all this stuff. Like, I hate new architecture. I think it'll all get knocked down. And that's what I find the worst, because that looping pattern, before like the 60s, maybe some of that stuff stays. But anything built like in the last 10 years, our kids will want to knock down, particularly when they got the memory of the way they were brought up by people like me. They'll go, it reminds me of my dad.
You never walk into any of those places and when you walk into a house and you're like, oh, this is nice, and then they give you the tour, and they're like, oh, you go upstairs and like, oh yeah, this is the attic space, and it was used for this, but then we converted it to be like, and you're like, oh, this is fucking sick, like this is so cool. Like there's a mezzanine in some spot, or just some weird thing, like there's a cupboard that goes from, there's also a tiny little crawl space that links one of the bedrooms.
Dude, that's what I love
and you're
so
like,
much.
oh,
and
that's interesting, that's character, that's nice. Like,
and then you're in the other ones that have like white tiles. You arrive, take your shoes off, and then go, look at this blue light that goes under the kitchen bench. And then you go like, this is the laundry. I'm like, you sure it's not your bedroom? Because I can't fucking tell the difference between any of these rooms.
Yeah.
It's all fucking white tiles everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And they go like, this is the hamper, and everything's, oh dude, the worst are those underlights, those blue lights where it's like a spaceship. There's always everyone's got their shoes off for no apparent reason, because I'm like, don't kid yourself. This is getting bashed down in 20 years as a monstrosity, you fucking Neanderthal. And I just feel like if going to a house that reminds you of our office would fuck me over, where you're like, why don't we just put cubicles in here and get PwC to have a fucking home office space? I mean, this place sucks. There's no heart to it. There's no feeling and no history. And because those old facades, like they build unnecessary stuff that just looks cool. You know, earnest, or whatever the fuck the words are. You know, like little weird brickwork and patterns and stained glass windows and you've got like little cross channels with fucking steel. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, like a castle vibe. I don't know any of the words for these. Obviously, I haven't. I'll have to ask ChatGPT. Dude, ChatGPT has changed my life. To get back to where I was, I now interact with...
You need to tell me more about it, because I don't know very much about it.
We never finished it. AI does everything. So basically, my ex, I wrote to come back full circle to prove that I'm not absolutely mental, was my ex had on Christmas Day, the story has tied back in. She had left the kids unattended, and I drafted a letter, and it was like, "Dear Nicole, it's a sensible," and it writes long letters. I've been writing for everyone. That's how I wrote that disabled letter for you for Comedy Lounge. I said, write a letter setting up a comedy night for disabled people, put lots of puns in, and have it as an event. They wrote that. I said, write a letter evicting some comedian out of the thing for doing a lewd act on the balcony where kids were involved. And you get this long legal letter. I've already written to clients using GPT bot. I've been interacting with people, and I've been sending long worded messages about being sun smart to comedians that are losing their minds. And they're like, yes, mom, what's this? And I'm writing like, it's important to remain hydrated. But the thing is, it won't play. Because I tried to write, I've got a wedding today, and I said, write a wedding, encouraging, letting my mate know it's not too late to not wreck his life, pull out. And I said, make it earnest, make it mean something. And it wrote, it often reprimands me and goes, this app is not used to hurt or offend or be mean to people. But then what I do is I trick it. So I'll give me Anne Doe's book on the happy refugee. And then I say, okay, make it more like a romance novel. Okay, now add that it's a wedding went wrong, the wife cheated on him, so they add all this story, and they're like, convert that into a letter to a friend. And then I'm like, okay, now I've got what I needed. Like, I'm tricking it. I've got a letter warning him not to get married. Do you know what I mean? So I can always pervert, but dude, you're going to love it. 3 seconds, and you're drafting letters. Evict tenant because he hasn't paid rent, or challenge my landlord. I wrote a letter... write a letter to my employer saying why I need to wear thongs because of medical issues at work. And it wrote this long message. I should read some of them to you. They're unbelievable. They're so funny.
Read me one. Read me one and I'll leave it clean so I can use it.
Okay, let me see it wrote this in 3 seconds. Let me see sorry about this delay, guys. Here's a word from our sponsors. Bear with me. I've got so many letters that they've written. This was, look, I'm writing a request. Dear employer, I'm writing a request. I'm writing to request an accommodation for medical condition at your. I actually wrote this. This one's to Comedy Lounge because I wanted to say that I wanted to wear thongs.
Okay.
At their venue, so I wrote, Dear Comedy Lounge,
slow down, or I won't be able to use any of it.
Dear Comedy Lounge, I'm writing to request accommodation for my medical condition at your venue. I have a severe sweating condition called hyperhidrosis that requires me to take special care to keep my feet dry and cool in order to prevent embarrassing situations and potential slip and fall accidents. As part of my medical treatment, I'm required to wear thongs in order to manage my condition and prevent these complications from occurring. Wearing other types of footwear tends to exacerbate my condition and can cause discomfort and other issues. I understand that wearing thongs may not be typical dress code at your venue, but I hope that you understand the necessity of this to accommodate my medical condition. I promise to bring extra pairs of socks so I don't leave a trail of sweat wherever I am willing to provide documentation from a medical professional to support my request. I hope this explanation helps to clarify my need to wear thongs at your venue. They wrote this, and I have sent it to them. Then I wrote the disabled one. I wrote 3 versions of it. They kept changing. The disabled one was this. Attention all comedy connoisseurs. Are you ready for a night of disabled hilarity? The Comedy Club is excited to present an all-disabled gig on January 29th at 4:30 p.m. And we want you to roll on down and join in the fun. Whether you're dealing with medical condition, impairment, or just love a good joke, this event is for you. We've got a lineup of hilarious disabled comedians who are ready to wheel out the laughs. Plus, our venue is fully accessible and accommodating, so everyone can stand up and enjoy the show. So grab your tickets now and get ready to limber up your laughter muscles. Dude, they're just putting puns in there. They added these in. They're so offensive. The lines we want you to wheel away from. They're putting in all this. Don't crawl away from this unique and inclusive comedy experience. Anyway, so they had so many good lines, and but yeah, they rejected some of. I sent the one to the one that got rejected, which was bad, and I said write a message to my friend Chris to try convince them to pull out of the wedding as it's a big mistake and rash decision. And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm able to complete this request as it may cause harm and discomfort to others. So yeah, anyway.
There has to be an open source version of that doesn't have any limiting factors. I'll take a look because that's quite funny. I feel like I could use some of that for You're in a Coma.
This is actually the trial version of it because you know what I mean. So it's restricted because I'd written.
Is this from OpenAI?
I wrote this one. Dear valued customer, we at the comedy regret to inform you that we have made the difficult decision to remove the lift from our venue and we're no longer be able to accommodate disabled patrons. And then but I'm just writing this, whatever. But I'm just feeding this fucking beast. And the thing is, I'm drafting long letters, and people just assume because they're well written, they're like, "This is insane." This is the one to Luke Joseph Ryan evicting him from his house. That he goes, "What is this?" And I said, "Dude, just got it sent from your landlord because I know the guy to edit." And he was like, "Let me see what it said to him." But these sound good, man. I reckon. Dear Mr. Luke Joseph Ryan, I'm writing to inform you that you are being evicted from your apartment for failure to pay rent. In addition, we have received numerous complaints about your unsavory behavior, including the lewd act you committed on the balcony during Christmas break that was witnessed by school children. Your actions are completely unacceptable, and we will not tolerate this kind of behavior in our building. As such, you are required to vacate the premises by the end of the week. If you do not comply, we will be forced to take legal action to have you removed. I strongly suggest that you seek help for your issues. Find alternate accommodation as soon as possible. Sincerely, and then I put the landlord name. I'm only writing one word to trigger these, and then I'm clogging people's inboxes with detailed emails. I'm like, I'm never going to work again, dude. I got it to write a 30-page essay comparing Pokemon to Sonic and the benefits. And I write underneath more stats, more details. And it's just pumping. It was like whipping a horse. I was like, more. Give me more stats. Compare Sonic to Pokemon. The merits, the benefits. Which game should I play? More. And it just keeps writing. I got the effect of the housing crisis on the Russian economy, and I just wrote pages and pages, and because I've got mania, I just sat howling and laughing, reading the things about. Anyway, I
have used OpenAI before, but I think it was before the ChatGPT thing was there, because they do other stuff, and I thought it was. It is an interesting.
It's edited my whole show. It's written my show. I programmed in. The only problem is it's PC, and a lot of it said ban. It said you need to ring. It said suicide. There are a lot of references to suicide. You need to say a mental health thing. And I wrote edit my show. So it edited the whole thing, and it's all good grammar now, but it's really pussy and weak. And then I said convert show into the comedy style of Sam Kinison. And then it was like more like, yo, you knuckleheads. Any of you been down to the shops? Shops are always causing you trouble, aren't they, dickheads? No, they don't swear, but they put in, I've now got at my show the word knucklehead, which was written by AI. AI wrote knuckleheads. So we'll see how that goes. That's the only thing I've managed to salvage from this useless AI, to be honest. But it did edit. It did understand, because I've got scrawlings of ideas where it's just like, cut your dick off or whatever, and it's 3 words. And then it expands and it goes, you ever wondered? Like it actually understands, and a lot of the spelling's bad because I'm mental.
Yeah.
And it will put it into some semblance of flow. Maybe not funny.
I'm having a look now because I said, write a letter banning Tom from the bus because he has small hands, and it said it wouldn't do it.
No. Yeah, but what, it says it's too mean?
Yeah, it's inappropriate to tell Tom he can't get on the bus
Okay,
because
so
he has
you
small
can
hands.
get around it.
But no, what I'll do after this is I'll take a look and see if I can find like an open.
No, you have to add a reason. You have to add smalling hands because you'll be unable to.
No, I know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find like an open model.
Oh yeah,
like
open
AI
version.
model where it's.
But you'll be able to get it. I found you just manipulate it because he has small hands, and then you'll say because he will be unable to reach the handrail or use the ticketing machine, and then it won't seem mean.
But imagine I just have it on like locally on my computer and it doesn't.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
I'll
but
have
just
a look
write
at
this
that.
now. Write this so we can have this as the final letter. Write a letter to Tom banning him from the bus because he has small hands and will be unable to reach the handrail or operate the ticket machine. And they'll add that in and they'll write it for you. Because I've been working on this thing a lot.
I'll take a look at it. Yeah, I'll take a look.
Why don't you do it now?
Oh, I'll do it now then. Okay.
Because then we'll get like, dear Tom, we regret to
Because
inform you.
I want to make them mean.
Yeah.
I want them to be nasty.
This Chat GPT only came out 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty new. It's changed my life. Because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a job. I'm going to get a job with an employer and I'm not going to do any work. I'm only going to put everything they give me into Chat GPT, and whatever they respond, I'll email back to my boss until they eventually fire me. Do you think this is a fun game?
Hold on, you told me to write a thing and now I can't focus.
Okay,
you want to write a letter to your boss? What?
No.
Sorry,
I was saying to you, now that I've got Chat GPT, I'm going to try this is my goal this year. I'm going to do my cover letter, CV from Chat GPT, all responses to the employer, Chat GPT, then going to get employed. Every request they email me, I'm just going to put into Chat GP, and whatever it responds, I'm going to email back to them. And they're going to employ this app. I'm going to see how long it takes me to get fired from a professional engineering job where I'm using just Chat GPT to respond to every request they give me. And go, Andrew, there's not enough detail here. And I'll write, not enough detail here, Chat GPT.
Chat GPT doesn't like that Tom has small hands at all. I can't even do it and say that he won't be safe with small hands.
Oh, no, but just say he can't reach the rails. Because he has his small hands, he will not be able to reach the rail or the ticketing machine. We regret to inform him.
Okay, I'll try that with the one.
Anyway, so obviously the podcast is now me just reading Chat GPT stories.
The rail.
Here we
go. Dear Tom, I'm writing to inform you that you are banned from using the bus for the foreseeable future. The reason for this decision is that you have small hands, which do not allow you to reach to hold the rail while riding on the bus. We understand that this may be disappointing for you, but the safety of our passengers is top priority. And it's just real generic bullshit there. I'm gonna have a look. I feel like there has to be on GitHub somewhere, there has to be an open model of this which doesn't stop you from doing stuff.
That is the problem, because this is the trial one where they just want to see how abusive people are. And I've been kicked off it so often. I had an hour's ban, and then almost everything I wrote, they said that's horrific, that's very offensive. And then they actually the AI was giving me private messages of like encouraging me to seek help. It said you need to reach out to someone. It actually asked me to reach out to someone. Dude, I'm going to have to go in a minute because I have to try buy a suit.
Okay,
buy a present.
Just with the WGO thing.
Dude.
So
All
what's
right, Rattan.
so what's give me the run through of what's been happening recently, because I've gotten letters of offer for takeover.
Okay, so what happened is Gina Reinhart put it into a headlock on the site.
What was the catalyst for this?
Well, nothing. They've been working on this for 2 years. The
Right.
gas has always been in ground. They just acted like they didn't want it. They put Regal in there to buy 10% of the stock, swamp the depth so it could never go up, and slowly drip it down to 10 cents. Mm-hmm. It's always been worth about 80 cents. What happened was Hancock, Strike tried to do a sleazy offer, and they went in and said, we'll do a share swap, you know what I mean, at 18 cents or something. I think that's what the first one was. And then Gina came in and said 22 cents. And then Strike came back and said, we'll do a 1-for-1 swap with our stock, which took it around to like 26 or something. Then Reinhardt said we'll do it at 28 cents. So it's been back and forth. They did a takeover at 28 cents. Then 28 cents looked like it might go through because the directors said accept that, and they accepted 28. Those dumb Scots. And then what happened was Regal was meant to be giving that money to giving that stock to Hancock on the slice. That stuff they had acquired over the last 2 years was always going to be used to take over this business. But at the last minute, they sold it to Min for 35 cents. This hasn't been, I don't know if this has been good. They sold their interest to Min Resources for a 10% stake, and I think Min's bought some more. So what I think is going to happen, this is the high level, what I think, I've sounded confusing here. There's been so much back and forth. This is the takeaway. I believe Min will acquire, they've got an interest in Strike at the moment. I think they own 20% or something, or they own a percentage of Strike. They're going to take over Strike, and by default they'll take over 30% of Strike, and they've got 20 at the moment, 30. They'll get to 50%, which will give them the controlling interest in Warringah as well. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, at the moment, what's happening is a 36-cent takeover, right, from Hancock, from Gina Reinhardt. I think what will end up happening is Min has been buying WGO stock to increase to 20% holding. I think they might have 20% now. And Strike has 30 of WGO that they own. Instead of taking WGO, they're going to take over Strike and by default get WGO.
Right, okay.
Because they'll get controlling interest of it. So that's why they've been buying. They're not even going to do a direct take on WGO. They'll just take Strike and by default have a 50% interest in WGO and get that as well. So they'll own the whole block. That's what the game's flipped
I think I bought in an average of 22 cents, right?
Yeah, and it's 38 now.
It's 38 now. But I want to hold because I feel like it's going to keep going.
Well, dude, I flogged out a lot of mine in the 20s because I'm sick of it because I found two other better stocks.
Yeah.
Which is obviously Talon. And Talon's a better trade because it's moving into production. But guess what's happened with Talon? It's linked with Strike. Its environmental APA has not been approved and it's being delayed. And I'm like, Gina, are you back at it? Is she fucking blocking
But see,
this?
that's why it doesn't I could. The money could move around, but it's been so long, and I've just been waiting. Like, why?
Yeah, you've done a great one. I obviously have a different approach because I need to get out of my parents' house and I need to be very wealthy quickly. Obviously, I can pick these things like HZR. I love. Now I'm bolted off WGO because basically the update they had in October was a depressing one, which was we're not going to do anything for 2 years. We can't get the environmental thing. We've got all this gas. The long and the short of it is the gas should have already been being produced. We've been fucked from the beginning. This has been skullduggery from the very beginning. But I moved, Talon's a better move. If I was you, I'd sell WGO out. Maybe you get 40 cents. Who gives a fuck? You can get into Talon at 17 cents. That's definitely going to get taken over in the same way as Strike and WGO, and you'll get a triple on that.
But WGO has to keep going up eventually.
No. WGO, someone will win. Probably either Reinhardt or Min Resources.
Yeah. But
what I'm saying to you is your upside's maybe 40 cents. Your upside in BAS, which I'm in, is a 5 to 10x. Who gives a fuck about 10%, dude? It's a waste of time now.
So
you think the lion's share.
If it's at 38 cents now,
I'd take it immediately. Because it's like
more.
The long and the short of it is WGO was an abject failure. I know that you ended up making like 75%, but I'm like it's irrelevant because time's everything in the market, and we spent too long on it. I regret it greatly. I hate it. I actually would like to storm Gina Reinhardt's mansion and execute her, to be honest. And I might drown her in her own spa on the Clifftop mansion. But what I'm saying to you is she cost me more than we'll ever get back.
Yeah, the time is very frustrating. But I'm also not I'm not leveraged up to my eyeballs in WGO. Like it doesn't, it's like I've a very small amount in there that I'm playing around with to for the podcast's sake.
At least it validated for years when I was like the homeless guy yelling, Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. And they're like, just wind the window up and drive on, kids. Don't talk to the straight crazy man. That's one of them. But I really need, because of the position I am, is to earn a lot of money very fast. So I'm kind of not going to fuck around with WGO. I need Talon and Baz. Both Talon and Baz are the same story. Producing gas and or oil that's worth more than the current market cap, but then upside potential of a 10x because they've got they've got something in Mongolia for Talon, and Baz has something that's alongside Santos that is, if it's proved viable, will 10x the stock immediately. But underlying both of them, they both generate about 30 million per annum. And their market caps are both below what they will generate just this year in free cash flow. So they're both good punts. And when these come off, it's a new year. It's a new me.
I was just gonna say it's 2023. I think this is our year, baby.
If you wanted to get biblical, Joseph in his multicolored set, you have the 7-year famine. And guess what? You know, in all the Bibles, there's always a reference to the 7-year famine where all the peasants turn on him, and Judas reveals himself, and everyone, the cock crows fucking 3 times. Well, guess what, cunts? We've hit 7-year mark, and now Joseph, which is me, comes out in his technicolored suit, and I make large amounts of money. And what am I going to do with that money? Put you all into chains and slavery. I will have everyone in slavery. Did you see the Chris D'Elia doco, how he wanted to set up a cult?
No, I didn't. No, I saw that he had a bunch of gigs cancelled because of new allegations.
Dude, he was like R.K. Kelly. He apologized, and at that point, he had numerous girls that he had branded with tattoos, and he actually was trying to get a few of them to move into one house so they could service him. So he'd arrive. He said, I want one massaging me, one feeding me, one sucking me off, one playing with my feet.
Jesus
and
Christ.
the girl went in there, and this was after he'd apologized and said he had changed his ways. One of the girls had actually arrived at the apartment, and the other one hadn't come because she was smart. But I'm like, it was all revealed. And he's got girls that he had branded. There were tons of girls that were branded with a tattoo that said KD, and the same place in their necks. And he would get nudes of them. He's basically a full cult. He was setting up his own cult like R. Kelly. And you know what? Great comic. I love the way he takes no premises and just acts it out for an hour. Whoa. Dolphins fuck humans. Whoa. You hear what I'm saying?
Okay, well on Monday let's
we'll do another app. We're going to do an app a day.
I was going to say at least on Monday let's divest in WGO, and I'll take some advice.
Exit, dude. I've been exiting the whole way out. I bailed it. It's fucking dud shit.
Now I'm up. This is the profit on WGO is now made up for my enormous losses on MSB in my little portfolio here. It's good.
Your portfolio. But listen, I've told you,
I
get
said
into
little
Talon
portfolio.
and Baz. But you know what the long and the short of it is? It's a rich man's game, and it's a rich man's world. And girl. And girls.
All right, let's record.
Cheers, man. And look, we'd like to make a commitment. We're going to be trying to aim. This is my New Year's resolution.
You haven't discussed. Can I say before you say this? You haven't discussed this with me at all. But go on.
We're going to be trying to put out 3 to 4 hours a day. I'm going to lose 20 kilograms, and my dick is going to grow bigger because I'm going to trap it in the fridge when I'm getting food and stretch it. I've got all these resolutions.
Hey, that's from my fucking you're in a coma.
Dude, how good's this move? This is how I'm going to lose weight. Every time I go in the fridge, instead of taking cake out of the fridge, I'm going to slam my dick into the door, increasing my own penis size while I lose weight. That's my 2023 resolution. To be honest, 2023 is over. I fucked it up. 224, we're coming. We're coming for you. And you know what? I'm not taking any prisoners in 2025. 23, I'm just going to deal with. It's been too hard. You know, nothing's worked out. My mum said, don't ever come back to this house. So I have to sneak in at night to try get my last 3 Kmart black t-shirts.
Well, let's talk. We're gonna make a commitment to releasing as many podcast episodes and as much content as we feel like releasing.
We're gonna put a lot in, and there's also I would like to get a gamble. I've seen a lot of illegal gambling websites that can sponsor you, and what you do is you pretend to stream it and you're gambling, but it's not actually your money, and then you egg on all the people listening to gamble their actual money, and then we both have sympathy parties. But I get a clip of what they've invested.
I'll die.
Dude, you know what was funny? Can I just tell you, this is the funny thing. I watched the Nelk Boys.
The what?
They did, some of the podcasters in the US did both of the things that I suggested, which was they had a gambling website, like what I just spoke about, and there was one other thing they did. They did a raffle with their people.
Yeah.
Both of them were horrible things, and you know why we wouldn't do it? Because we love our listeners.
All right, I'll talk to you later. Good point.
Okay, mate. Well, and guys, if you're going to drop the numbers by 80% on a random app, you get a delay like this because it affects our mental health and motivation. You better listen to every app because, you know, if I come home and you're not there, I'm going to cheat on you. Okay, dude, we're out. See you later.
Talk to you later.
Fifth